Students, you can see that today we are going to talk about correlation, and that the this we have already done before. Uh, Correlation we have started in previous lecture only. So there are, if there is any relationship between two variables, we say that the two variables are correlated. Correlation measures the direction of their relationship. Like if we vary one variable, what will happen to the other variable, whether if it will increase or decrease. If we increase one variable, as a result the other increases, then the relationship is direct. And if we increase one variable and as a result the other variable decreases, it is the relationship is indirect. Okay, so now we are coming to the topic of types of correlation. It can be positive, it can be negative. So when both variables move in the same direction, the correlation is said to be positive. The sign of correlation coefficient is positive in this case. And if both variables move in opposite direction, we call it as negative correlation. We are increasing one and the other is decreasing. So in that case, the sign of correlation coefficient is negative, and we call it as a negative correlation. The example of negative correlation is demand and price. If we increase the price, the demand for the commodity goes down. Then we have another category of correlation, that is linear and non-linear correlation. Linear correlation means when the change in variable is proportional. You increase one variable and the change in the other variable is proportional. And the relationship can be expressed in terms of single power equation in the two variables. Like the power of variables in the equation is 1, then it is a linear relationship. And if the power of linear of equation between the variable is not 1, it is more than 1, like 2 or 3, then it is a non-linear correlation. Then we have another example is simple partial, and another type of correlation is simple partial and multiple correlation. When we are only considering impact of one variable on other, it is simple correlation. There are only two variables in consideration in case of simple correlation. In case of multiple correlation, we have more than one variable, like the amount of production, agriculture production. It depends upon many things. Like it depends on amount of rainfall, it depends upon the productivity of soil or the fertility of the soil. It depends upon the kind of fertilizer that we are using, the amount of fertilizer we are using. Then in this case, there is the one dependent variable is one, that is amount of output produced, agriculture output produced. But there are many variables which are affecting this. This is a case of multiple correlation. And in case of if we keep all other if we in case of multiple correlation, if we study the impact of one variable on the other and keeping all other affecting variable constant, it becomes partial correlation. पार्शियल कोरिलेशन क्या होता है कि एक वेरिएबल है डिपेंडेंट, जिसके ऊपर मैनी इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स जिसको अफेक्ट कर रहे हैं, जैसे कि प्राइस, सॉरी, डिमांड ऑफ ए प्रोडक्ट, इट इज अफेक्टेड बाय the income of the buyer, it is affected by price of the product, it is affected by the price of related goods, it is affected by the population. So there are many other things which affect the demand of a particular product. Now we are trying to understand the relationship of demand with price. What will be the impact of changes in price on the demand of a product? And we are keeping all other things constant, then this will be partial correlation. Then we can talk about is degree or magnitude of correlation. If the correlation coefficient comes out to be +1 or -1, it is said to be perfect correlation. from 0.75 to 1, be it positive or negative, the correlation is said to be very high. If the correlation coefficient lies between 0.25 to 0.75, the correlation is said to be medium. The sign of correlation coefficient can be plus or minus, but their absolute value should be between 0.25 and 0.75. Then that is called as medium correlation. And if it is between 0 and 0.25, it is known as low correlation. And if there is no correlation, the correlation coefficient will come out to be 0. Now we talk about some methods of measurement of correlation. First method that is listed over here is a scattered diagram. We plot the graph of different values of dependent and independent variable and try to find out the relationship between the two. I will show you a scatter diagram in in future slides. Then another method is Karl-Pearson's coefficient. Third method is Spearman's coefficient. So we will discuss each method one by one. So scatter diagram method, or here we are keeping, we have two variables. One variable we are showing on x-axis and second variable we are showing on y-axis. We try to plot the values of the variables on the x and y axis. Suppose you get a graph like the first figure shown, then we say that it's a perfect positive correlation.